It's Sunday night, April 18th, 2021, 11 p.m. Most of Europe is asleep, which was exactly the point. Because at 11 p.m., 12 of the biggest football clubs on planet Earth press one button and announce they are leaving. Leaving the leagues, leaving the Champions League, leaving 100 years of football behind. They're starting their own private league for themselves, forever. It had taken years to plan. It had $4 billion behind it. It had the 12 most powerful crests in the sport, and it was one of the most catastrophic failures in the history of business. In our last two videos, corruption took decades to build, and nobody could stop it. This empire, announced on Sunday, dead by Tuesday, killed by the one force no billionaire's spreadsheet had accounted for, a man named Barry, and about 10 million people just like him. Grab a snack. This is the 48-hour war for football's soul. Okay, before you can understand the crime, you need to understand the treasure. What makes football different from every other sport on Earth? One word: relegation. Here's the ELI 5. Football leagues are a pyramid. Finish at the top of your league, you get promoted. Up you go. Finish at the bottom, down you go. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what you spent. A tiny village club can climb, division by division, all the way to playing the Giants, and a giant can fall all the way down. It's happened. Ask the historians. It's musical chairs, where the chairs are made of money, and the music never, ever stops. That terror, that hope, that's the whole magic. That's why it's the world's game. Every match matters, because everything can be lost. Now, put yourself in a billionaire's very expensive shoes. You just bought a football club for $2 billion, and there is a trapdoor under it. You can spend fortunes and still fall through the floor, lose the TV money, lose everything. For fans, that's drama. For owners, that's a casino where the house can lose. And billionaires did not become billionaires by gambling. They became billionaires by owning the casino. So where did the fix come from? Look across the ocean. American sports are run completely differently. The NFL has 32 teams. Guess how many can get relegated? 0. It's impossible. The club list is carved in stone. Finish dead last in the NFL. No trapdoor. You get a reward. The best new player next season. Lose every single game, and your franchise is still worth billions. Guaranteed TV money forever. Now, no judgment, it works great for America. But European owners, many of them American businessmen by the way, looked at that system the way a kid looks through a candy store window. A league with no trapdoor. Members forever. 0 risk. And slowly, quietly, a very dangerous question formed in some very rich heads. What if we just built that? For ourselves? Now meet the masterminds. Our villains have a group chat. First, the chairman, Florentino Perez. Silver-haired, Spanish, a construction king who runs Real Madrid, the most famous football club on Earth, like a personal kingdom. There's just one problem. His kingdom is drowning in debt. He doesn't just want the new league, he needs it, like oxygen. Second, the heir, Andrea Agnelli, Italian football royalty. Slick suits, perfect hair, running his family's famous old club, Juventus. And here's the detail that makes this story Shakespeare. The heir's best friend is Alexander Sheffirin, the boss of European football, the very man this league would destroy. We're not talking golf buddies. This man is family. He is literally godfather to the heir's daughter. Remember that. It's going to hurt. And third, the banker, because a rebellion needs money. So the 12 clubs walked into JP Morgan, the biggest American bank on Wall Street, and walked out with a promise of roughly $4 billion. 12 clubs. Years of secret meetings, lawyers, code names, a war chest. The plan? 15 founding clubs who could never be relegated from their new league. Guaranteed hundreds of millions each every year, forever. They weren't renting footballs a stage anymore. They were buying the theater and welding the trapdoor shut. Now, why announce at 11 p.m. on a Sunday? Because the very next morning, European football was announcing its own big reforms. So the 12 struck first. Ambush at midnight, Sunday, 11 p.m., the statement drops. The Super League. 12 crests on a black banner, and across Europe, phones start ringing. One phone matters more than all the others. The boss of European football calling his best friend. The ear. The Godfather bond. Family. No answer. The man had switched his phone off on the night he betrayed him. The next morning, the football boss stood at a podium and, with the entire sporting world watching, described his best friend and the other plotters with two words that made headlines everywhere: snakes and liars. The war was on. Monday morning, the 12 expected anger. They got a planetary detonation. Television pundits, employed by the very networks that pay football billions, went nuclear on live TV. Grown men in suits, shaking with rage on breakfast television. Then the governments woke up. The British Prime Minister threatened, his actual words, a legislative bomb to stop it. Then football's own bosses pulled out the nuclear option. FIFA and UEFA warned any player who kicks a ball in the Super League could be banned from the World Cup. And here's where the 12 made their fatal miscalculation. They had bet their players' careers without asking them. They had bet their managers' reputations without warning them. Managers were pushed in front of cameras to defend a plan they'd learned about on Twitter the night before. One legendary coach just shrugged on live TV, "Don't look at me, I found out when you did." The generals had launched a war and forgotten to tell the army. But laws take months. Bans take lawyers. What killed the Super League took cardboard. Meet Barry. Barry has held a season ticket since before some of these owners could tie their shoes. Barry's dad brought him to this stadium. Barry brings his granddaughter now. Barry read the news on Monday, put down his tea, and said one word: no. And on Tuesday, 10,000 Barrys showed up outside the stadiums. No hashtags from marketing agencies, cardboard, markers, fury. One sign said it better than any lawyer ever could: created by the poor, stolen by the rich. In London, fans physically blocked their own team's bus from reaching the stadium. The match nearly didn't happen. And then something the owners never modeled in any spreadsheet. The revolt spread inside the walls. Entire squads posted the same message in unison against their own employers. We don't like it, and we don't want it to happen. The owners had one product to sell: Barry's love for this game. And Barry just took it off the shelf. Tuesday evening. Grab your commentator voice, because this happened like a cup final. News breaks. One London club is preparing withdrawal documents. The first domino wobbles. An hour later, a second club wavers. The fans outside are singing. Then at 10:40 p.m., gone. The first club officially pulls out. And now they're falling faster than anyone can type. 1, 2, 3. By midnight, all 6 English clubs out. 48 hours. That's all it took. The $4 billion, years-in-the-making, unstoppable Super League lasted about as long as a long weekend. Wednesday morning was Apology Day, and oh, it was glorious. Time to grade some homework. One club. We made a mistake. Short, honest, B-. Another published an open letter to its fans. Shows effort, B+. The giant bank. We clearly misjudged. A bank. Apologizing, A+. Frame it. And the ear? The man who days earlier had sworn the 12 had a blood pact? His verdict, the project, can no longer proceed. You don't say. So the good guys won. Roll credits. Statues of Barry in every town square. Well, you've watched this channel before. Look closer. The punishment for attempting to hijack world football? The rebel clubs paid goodwill fines so small, they were basically a parking ticket. The chairman never apologized, never surrendered. His club and 2 others refused to sign the peace treaty. Instead, he called his lawyers, and they went to the highest court in Europe. And in December 2023, that court ruled that football's bosses had, in fact, abused their monopoly power by threatening everyone. The Zombie League even relaunched with a new name and a shinier PowerPoint. It's still out there, lurking. And the funniest part? The reformed Champions League that replaced the old one added more teams, more matches, and more money for the big clubs anyway. The Wolves didn't die. They learned to wait. But don't let that steal the real ending. Because something happened in those 48 hours that had never happened in this entire series. FIFA sold the World Cup for 24 years. Nobody stopped them. Qatar bought the biggest stage on earth. Nobody stopped them. 12 billionaires tried to take the whole game, and 10 million berries stopped them in 2 days. Power doesn't fear laws. Laws take years, and lawyers are for hire. Power fears crowds. So next time somebody tells you that money always wins, remember the empire that was born on a Sunday and died on a Tuesday. Remember the unanswered phone, the cardboard signs, the apology letters. And remember that the whole thing collapsed the moment ordinary people asked the billionaires the one question they never expect to hear back. So, what's in it for US? Sound familiar? If you enjoyed this, you know what to do. Bury wood. This was the Power Files. See you in the next one.